Minister, the Finance Bill 2021 builds on the Government's commitment to achieve net zero by 2050. It includes several measures of tackling climate change and reducing Ireland's overall greenhouse gas emissions. I am sure that you will agree car owners have been incentivised into converting over to electric cars, EVs, by the taxation system, and ensure that car purchasing is still attainable and effective for the car owners, even though the national grid can't cope with any more of this, because with the data centres we won't be able. They're going to put on heated windows on the back of them so we can be pushing them along the road. Or we'll be like the Flintstones with no floor in them, and we'll be running alongside our cars. That's how much common sense you have. Huge incentives have been given to the aviation industry, who are carbon exempt. In fact, they enjoy a hefty 634 million tax break via exemptions from jet fuel. Mr. Ledden. Airlines receive the most, 2.4 billion, through exemptions from excise duty, carbon tax and the National Oil Reserve Agency levy on fuel, commercial and international flights. Did you hear that, Deputy Liddon? It would take 1 acre of forestry a year to absorb the same amount of CO2 emissions on a one-way flight from Dublin to New York, Deputy Liddon. Did you know in 2019 that the airline industry brought 38 million passengers through Irish airports? This works out at a half a tonne of carbon per passenger each way. So where does this leave the agriculture in climate justice? Farmers care about the environment as much as any other sector in Ireland. They have been told that their emissions account for 63%. Climate justice is about fair treatment of all people and the freedom from discrimination in the creation of policy. The blanket restriction disproportionately affects young farmers by limiting their ability to enter into the sector by creating sustainable for those who are recently heavily invested in their business. Farmers Journal commissioned a report and an absolute maximum that they need to reduce, that they can reduce by, is 18%. They need new technologies, new supports. They need new assurance around about 150 million carbon tax that was promised by government, and they are willing to do their part in the solution. But I did mention earlier on that the air industry gets 634 million and they're exempt. Can you be honest with them and tell them that the national herd has been culled, Minister? And let's be honest here. 158 people died yesterday in the world. 380 people were born yesterday. How are they going to feed if we keep reducing our food production? Prices will escalate and the poor countries will suffer. Minister, I'd like to thank the EPA for highlighting the disgusting fact that raw sewage from over 30 towns and villages across Ireland. I hope you're listening to this now, since you're talking about agricultural manure. We should be ashamed of ourselves in a modern society that over 33 villages and towns that in 2021 that a horrible everyday violation is truly their basic rights, living for hygiene settings. It's appalling. Raw sewage going into our waterways. They're saying 33, but the EPA have got it wrong, because they're not taking into account the sewage systems that are being desludged on a daily basis with diesel trucks, desludging them, adding to the carbon tax, as you call it, to stop raw sewage going into our rivers. I was in Askeaton during the week, and that's not on the EPA's list, so the list is not actually factual. Okay? So they're not factual. I was there, and I witnessed raw sewage going into the rivers. Glynn, Drumculliher, Hospital, all these, and none of them made the budget for upgrading their systems. And I listened to people about carbon tax being inflicted. It's only been inflicted on people outside of Dublin. And I've mentioned the Red Cow on more than one occasion. And I'm proud to say that the man that owns the Red Cow, because you wouldn't know what a cow is otherwise, is a man from Ataya, County Limerick, Tom Morden. He actually had to come to Dublin and tell you what a cow was by naming a hotel the Red Cow. Well, I'll tell you something, Deputy Ledden. You can't fix the problems here in Dublin, so you're trying to inflict it outside of here. I left here last Thursday week at 4:31 from Leinster House to travel 9.6 kilometres to the Red Cow. It took me an hour and 32 minutes. And I travelled from the Red Cow 217 kilometres, which took me 2 hours and 7 minutes. You make the sense out of that. You're crying, oh, infrastructure. You have the infrastructure up here and you can't fix it. The whole place is congested because you've overpopulated Dublin. You've shoved every business into Dublin, and now people can't get in and out of Dublin. And you talk about carbon tax. I would if the Luas could connect me down to my own county. Did you know, Deputy, since you're so smart, that I can't use the train to come to Dublin because my train won't get me back down if we're delayed here in Dáil Éireann? If I get the green bus, Deputy, smart man yourself, if I get it, the green bus takes me from 23 miles from my house where there is no parking facilities. So I can't use any of them. So I have to get someone to drive me to the green bus and collect me. That's more carbon tax. So it's more fuel efficient for me to drive to Dublin until I get here, and I can't get in here or get out of here. You're very